Do you have complex trauma and obsessive compulsive disorder? Maybe you have complex trauma from medical gaslighting or from a toxic relationship that you've been in. If you have been in these situations, watch this video and I'm going to give you some information that might be helpful. So first of all, whenever we go through a long-term stressful event, we're in a relationship where we're supposed to trust that person. That person could be an authority figure like a doctor or a teacher, and could also be like a relationship. We assume that we can trust the person, and if that is being used to undermine us or gaslight us or put us down, that's only going to pour gasoline on our OCD, because with OCD, like by nature, we already have a lot of guilt and don't trust ourselves and live with a lot of fear and doubt. So that's going to really, those two things are going to work like together to attack your nervous system, basically. So this type of complex trauma, it can, again, like force us into a place where we really don't trust ourselves. So when I'm working with people who have this complex trauma plus OCD, I'm going to first create that therapeutic relationship, because like Patrick Tihan says, relational trauma requires relational healing. So it's really important that the person can have their pain be witnessed so that they can move through the grief of what they experienced and slowly learn to trust themselves again. So basically, I'm treating the most prominent symptoms, to put it in clinical terms. And then something like your OCD obsessions might kind of come, like we may be kind of working on it, like weaving in and out of both. Or we could really focus on, getting down some of the trauma symptoms, and then kind of going into exposure and response prevention. Another tip is that when you are doing exposure and response prevention, you want to mostly be feeling like stable and confident that you can handle this stuff, right? If you have just experienced trauma, you're going to want to move through that and do some healing on that a bit before you start to go into the ERP. Because it is going to activate your nervous system. You're going to get yourself upset by doing these exposures. And we want to go ahead and treat that first before we move on to the OCD. And then third thing I want to mention is all of the compulsions that we're doing. And I understand that it can be tough, because when you've been, put down and doubted,